Morning, Mark. I had a notification pop up on my YouTube that you've just done another interview with John Perry.
Yes, John Perry of Stated Clearly, which is an excellent channel on YouTube. Fantastic animations about science and evolution. I've got to know John quite well over the last couple of years. Done a few things with him now. And now that I've got the Evolution Soup YouTube channel going, thought it'd be nice to do a really nice sciencey interview with him about, is evolution science? Because some skeptics say it isn't. It doesn't meet its burden of proof. So we explore that.
Excellent.
Yeah, and the next one coming up will be with a Paleolithic archaeologist called Ella, and it's a fantastic interview. I was so pleased with the way that came out. And so that'll be up next.
So this channel's more for people who want to know more about evolution, isn't it, rather than actual beliefs?
Yes. Talk Beliefs will be continuing to do things about evolution in regards to creationism and beliefs surrounding evolution, what it is and what it is not. And Evolution Soup will be more or less science, a bit of creationism thrown in now and again, because it does rear its ugly head a lot.
Unfortunately it does. So what news have we got today then?
Oh gosh, I'm afraid everything that's been that's been uncovered for this week is about preachers behaving badly, I guess. You heard about the Noah's Ark thing, didn't you? The Ark Park?
Yeah.
What oh my god, this is hilarious. From USA Today, owners of biblical Noah's Ark replica sue over flood damage to property. It's very difficult to say that without laughing because of the irony, the sheer irony of it.
You can't make this up.
And this is, of course, Ken Ham of the Creation Museum. He created a couple of years ago a life-size Noah's Ark, great old monstrosity using the locals' tax money to build it. And now he's having a bit of a spot of bother because of flood damage. The owner of the life-size replica of Noah's Ark in northern Kentucky has sued its insurers for refusing to cover flood damage. Ark Encounter, which unveiled the 510-foot-long model in 2016, says that heavy rains in 2017 and 2018 caused a landslide on its access road, and its 5 insurance carriers refused to cover the nearly $1 million in damages. You're right, you couldn't make this up. It sounds kind of like an Onion story or something, doesn't it?
God gave very specific instructions in the Bible of how to build the ark, but I guess he didn't give very specific instructions on how to build the road giving access to the ark.
Yes. In a 77-page lawsuit filed in U.S. District Court, Ark Encounter asked for compensatory and punitive damages. The ark itself was not damaged, and the road has been rebuilt, according to the suit. The park is open, said Melanie Etheridge, a spokeswoman at the attraction's Dallas-based public relations firm, who only laughed when that the Ark Encounter had sued over flood damage. And I don't blame her, really, because of the irony. Because, of course, the whole point of the biblical story was because a flood was coming, and the ark was the only way to save the one righteous family on earth.
I'm just wondering if the floods get worse in that area, will the ark get up and float away?
I wonder if it is.
As per all the films you see,
is it seaworthy? No, I don't think it is. They didn't. Waterproof it with pitch like they did in the story. So I think it would probably just collapse. Which it is actually anyway, collapsing, at least in terms of how much money it's taking in.
It is, and maybe this is one of the reasons why they're suing for punitive damages, because their takings are so dismal.
It could be God's revenge for what he did to the poor taxpayers.
Could be indeed. That takes us on to the next story.
Oh yes, from friendlyatheist.pathos.com. Pastor won't give up $1.7 million in illegal donations, calling them God's blessings. You can see where this is going. A pastor in Florida is refusing to give up $1.7 million that rightfully belongs to victims of a massive $30 million Ponzi scheme, calling the money God's blessings. But those blessings didn't come to the winner's church from God. They came from a former church director who took advantage of people. And surprise, Pastor Fred Shipman thinks God wants him to keep the cash. Again, this isn't the first time this has happened. If money comes your way, it must be from God. It doesn't matter where it's from. And they're just fudging the whole thing, aren't they?
Surely they can do something about this in the law, because this is a Ponzi scheme. I mean, we call them pyramid schemes over here in the UK. These are illegal.
Yeah.
These are illegal schemes, and people get put in jail for actually.
And for anyone who doesn't know, it's like literally the shape of a pyramid. You think of it like that. If you were to draw it as a diagram, the person at the top.
You have layers, and the money goes up layers, and the guy at the top gets a bit of everyone's money. He gets the most. The guy at the top of the. He becomes mega rich.
Yeah.
No one else does on the scheme. Barely a few people maybe get a little bit more money.
All the sellers, as it were, underneath.
But everyone at the bottom is just giving their money away.
Yeah. Well, the article goes on to say, a federal judge has temporarily frozen the accounts of Winners Church and its top pastors, Fred and Whitney Shipman. In an unusual move, the father and son leaders of the 25-year-old Jogro Church are fighting efforts that would allow the money to be returned to hundreds of people who were lured into a far-flung diamond and Bitcoin investment scam. And we have a quote here, "It's going to have a ripple effect in everything we do from this point on," Bishop Fred Shipman told U.S. District Judge Robin Rosenberg, explaining the effects of returning the money it received from one of the church's directors who was involved in the scheme. I don't think it's fair.
Now, the key there, the key in that sentence is that it's going to have a ripple effect on everything we do from this point on. Because so many of these televangelists and churches are working Ponzi schemes and pyramid schemes with their TV evangelism, asking for seed money. Give me some seed money and you'll get the money back 3 times, 4
plant
times.
a seed, and they always give a choice. I've noticed, like, you could give 100, or you could give 1,000, or you could give 100,000.
Yeah. And they like to use unusual numbers sometimes as well. I think they just stick in the mind more.
£1,250, like that,
yeah.
Dollars.
It's very strange. I think there's some psychological thing that sticks in the brain more. I don't know.
Yes, that's right.
But these are pyramid schemes and Ponzi schemes.
Do you think they know that when they're going into this lifestyle, they think, I know, I'm going to become a preacher and do this? Or do you think some of them, they genuinely want to preach and then discover...
I think there'd be a mixture.
Hey.
Absolutely just con men.
I wonder what
absolutely
comes first.
Just con men, without a doubt, who just set up religions to fleece people. Because they've been doing it in every areas of their life. Joseph Smith.
Yeah, there's the guy that took over the Jehovah's Witnesses, Rutherford.
So these are people who have history of frauding people or describing how to fraud people and then going ahead and doing it and actually doing it. There will no doubt be others that are true believers who get into it and then just really like their flash cars, their mansions.
Well, they have a little soiree with other preachers and then they hear things and they go, oh, you know what?
He's got a jet. I need a jet too.
I need a jet. Somebody who definitely thinks he needs a jet is preacher Kenneth Copeland. Now, I know this guy quite well because at home, again, family members, so that people will know now that I have family members who are really into all this evangelical stuff. Him and his wife Gloria have been doing a TV show and speaking and writing books for what seems like 1,000 years, but I guess it's been the last 40 years or so. And now Kenneth Copeland has been caught off guard by Inside Edition, and this wonderful clip, which I played to you earlier, Neil, where the reporter from Inside Edition catches him as he's just getting into his car and asks, "Why do you need a jet?" You know, if you're preaching about, for instance, there's that Bible verse, Mark 10:25. It is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of God. He will preach things like that, and then he'll go out and he'll buy a mansion and several cars and a jet. And at this point, he had to defend his lifestyle, and he didn't do it very well, did he?
No, so it was really interesting because she caught him up front and just said, "You have said you don't want to get into a tube with a bunch of demons." He got really quite stressed at that.
So apparently he had said that somewhere.
Yeah, apparently he had, and she pulled up this line, and he was like, "No, I didn't. Don't you ever say I did."
Yeah.
So I guess he's a litigious type, so let's see whether he does anything about
We're going to play that clip in a minute. I mean, what's funny about it, at one point, he looks up and he goes, "Help me, Lord." I've been caught out. Yeah,
he tries to change the subject, and then he gets all misogynistic, talking about
comments
how pretty
on
she
her
is
eyes.
and her eyes and stuff. Anything not to talk about the actual question. Now, the question was, why do you need a jet? Basically, why do you need a private jet? And then he goes on to say about, it's because I need to travel around the country and preach to people. Yeah. And he did. I think I heard him say it's cheaper. Now, But he said he needs it. Anyway, even if it wasn't cheaper, there's no way you can't do that on public transport, on commercial airlines. And
he was just thinking off the top of his head.
And someone who is currently worth 760 million.
760 million as of 2018, yeah.
Through his efforts of just asking people for money and writing some books. Yeah, no wonder he doesn't want to get on a plane with the scum that he's basically
Yeah, they'd lynch him.
Yeah.
Well,
he thinks they're scum. He thinks they're scum, and he doesn't want to travel with them because
he's not very good at this, is he? The defending himself.
No, and there's.
You'd think at 82 years of age he would be, but
I can't remember the name of another pastor I heard say he needs his 2 jets. This one had 2 jets.
Oh, Benny Hinn probably.
Yeah. He needs his 2 jets because he can't hear. He can't hear God until he's up a mile in the air to get away from the noise.
Of course, which is why Moses went to the mountain. Of all the demons. Yeah. Oh boy. Anyway, Inside Edition printed a little article about this. Preacher Kenneth Copeland defends his lavish lifestyle in full interview. Televangelist Kenneth Copeland enjoys a life of luxury. He has his own airport next to his mansion in Newark, Texas, where he keeps his private jets plural.
Oh.
Inside Edition's chief investigative correspondent Lisa Guerrero caught up with him in Branson, Missouri. He spoke to her at length about his lavish lifestyle and why he says the jets are important to his ministry. And the quote is, "If I flew commercial, I'd have to stop 65% of what I'm doing." Guerrero asked him about a previous comment he made saying he doesn't fly commercial because he doesn't want to get into a tube with a bunch of demons, referring to the great unwashed passengers. "Do you really believe that human beings are demons?" she asked. "No, you do not, and don't you ever say that I did," Copeland responded as he pointed his finger at her.
How are you, sir? We'd just like to ask you about why you don't want to fly commercial. Why have you said that you won't fly commercial? You said that it's like getting into a tube with a bunch of demons. Why do you think that?
No, listen to me just a second. Of course. Not the people. The main reason is because of the need. If I flew commercial, I'd have to stop 65% of what I'm doing. That's really the main.
Isn't it true that you want to fly commercial so that you can fly in luxury? How much money did you pay for Tyler Perry's Gulfstream jet, for example?
Well, for example, that's really none of your business, but...
Isn't it the business of your donors?
Listen, I paid. You kind of caught me off guard here, okay?
Certainly. Well, if you'd like to come out here, I'd like to give you a chance to catch your breath and have a conversation. We don't want to catch you off guard.
I love Inside Edition. You got to get this now. Hey, you listening to me? My wife thinks Inside Edition is, oh yeah. Now, thank you, Lord. Help me. Let me pray this thing.
Well, let me just ask you a really simple question. A lot of people think it's unbecoming for a preacher to live a life of luxury and to fly around in private jets. What's your response to that?
Very simple. It takes a lot of money to do what we do.
And so there you go. It sounded like he was struggling quite a bit, didn't he?
Yeah, he didn't have a lot of answers. And he knows this isn't a good look. I mean, he's amassed this absolute fortune through the years from people who are basically desperate. Normally people are desperate, looking for help, some sort of health issues, some sort of financial issues. There's terrible stories about people who are actually financially on the floor,
and they will
still selling their cars to give every last penny they have to these people in the hope that these seeds will come back and give them wealth or health in the future.
And over the years on these shows, they work on the public psychology, saying that don't expect to get anything unless you give anything. And of course, what goes into their mind is, give to you and you will give to the poor, which is the same as giving to Jesus.
Yeah.
And they fall for it.
They absolutely fall for it. And the really sick thing about this is when it doesn't work, when they don't get any financial gain from it, when they don't get any health benefits, they say it's because they're a sinner and they haven't believed in Jesus enough. They put it back on them. They've literally just taken their money off them and then said it's their fault that they haven't got the rewards. But there was no reward on offer. There was no reward on offer at all. They'd just taken the money off the person.
And do you think these people really believe that they are going to get a heavenly reward? Because if so, why do they need all this luxury now? Can't they just wait for it? I mean, he's 82, he won't, or 83, he won't have long to wait.
No, exactly. No,
it's almost as if they don't believe that there's a heaven or a God. And they have to get it all now.
You can never know with an individual pastor until maybe they come out later on in life and say so. But yeah, it's a scam. It's a scam.
Well, we're hopefully never going to fall for anything like that, but stay away.
I've bought some rubbish products in my life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. It happens to all of us. But stay away from these preachers, folks, and these programs, God networks, and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
there might be some genuine people on there, but there certainly are a lot of nasty people who are going to just take you for a ride.
And if you are in financial trouble, giving your last dollars or pounds over to a preacher or pastor isn't going to help you. The same as buying some scratch cards isn't going to help you. It's just going to get you in more debt.
Yeah.
I mean, go and see. There's lots of charities that help with financial advice. Please don't waste the last few pennies or pounds you have. Let's go and get some help.
Absolutely. And on that note, I will see you here next week.